And today I'm going to be presenting gender differences in temperament and personality as seen through a daily diary survey. Recap of temperament and personality traits before we dive into our study. Temperament and personality are trait-like individual differences in emotional and cognitive biases that first emerge in early childhood, but that develop throughout one's life. These differences account for consistency in behavior, inner experience, and risk. TNP is also organized into three broadband factors: neuroticism, negative emotionality, extroversion, positive emotionality, and self control conscientiousness. For our study, we decided to focus on neuroticism and extroversion so we could draw conclusions about how different levels of those traits can contribute to gender differences seen in mental illnesses. So, to start with neuroticism, negative emotionality, it is a proneness to irritability or hostility, pessimistic view, self-doubt, negative moods, and less mood stability. So a high concentration of this, a person normally is sad easily, stressed or worried, and has mood swings, whereas somebody low in neuroticism is normally pleased with oneself, calm under pressure, and rarely irritated. And stable biases in these include emotion, susceptibility to negative moods. For appraisal, experience the world as distressing or threatening, and for motivation, they are aversive or defensive and tend to work hard to avoid punishment. And then just to recap extroversion, positive emotionality is the extent to which an individual is sociable, assertive, and emotionally expressive. So a person with high extroversion is extroverted, comfortable around people, and warm up quickly to new people, whereas somebody low in extroversion is introverted, tend to stick to the background, don't talk a lot, are hard to get to know. And core features of extroversion include for emotion, susceptibility to positive moods. For appraisal, they see the world as a series of opportunities for reward and are optimistic. And for motivation, they tend to work hard to approach rewards and incentives, especially social rewards and social attention. And just a little background of the daily diary study. It is a qualitative study which requires participants to record entries or answer questions about their experiences in a daily log. And for ours, we did a 2-week daily diary study with 20 participants, 10 male, 10 female, with an age ranging from 13 to 50, sorry. And we included 16 questions. For neuroticism, negative emotionality, we measured how easily mood was changed, the duration of anger, if anger was experienced at all, and perceived support from others, as well as a daily rating. And for extroversion, we measured how often they socialized, their mood while socializing, and had them rate their mood. And to get an overall idea of how their day went and how their weeks went, we had them write a brief paragraph to describe the events of their day and how those events affected their mood. And for the disorder we decided to focus on for the study, we chose major depressive disorder, or MDD. And MDD, like many other disorders, have displayed a higher lifetime prevalence in women than in men. And in this case, it's 7.2 for women and 4.3 for men, meaning that women are more likely to develop MDD than their male counterparts. And we picked MDD to show how TNP traits can sometimes interact and predict the development of certain disorders. And there's evidence that individuals with high neuroticism, negative emotionality, and low extroversion, positive emotionality are especially vulnerable to major depression. And this kind of highlights a comorbidity or two hits effect, meaning that the chronic distress and heightened stress reactivity, or high neuroticism, negative emotionality, and reduced sensitivity to reward and reduced motivation to seek out positive experience, the low extroversion, can contribute to the likelihood that an individual will develop MDD. And then these are the daily diary results for males for the negative neuroticism, negative emotionality. So we asked them how easily their mood was changed today, and the majority of them said that it was not changed easily. And we asked them how they feel, or we asked them if they felt supported by the people that are around them to gauge kind of their worldview, and the majority said that they did feel supported. We asked them how often they experienced whatever mood they chose as most common, and the majority of them said consistently, showing that they had a pretty consistent mood throughout the day. And we had them rate their day on a scale from 1 to 5, and the majority of participants chose 5s and 4s. And for their extroversion ratings, the majority of them said that they were happy and excited as their main mood for the day. They also said that they saw a friend or family member almost every day of the study, at around 95.6%. And they said that they were pretty social, rating mostly fours and fives, almost majority fives. And the majority of them felt comfortable by socializing, but also expressed feelings of happiness and also some self consciousness. And for female neuroticism negative emotionality, the majority of them said that their mood was not changed easily, but it was a closer call than we saw with the men. And we asked them how often they experienced whatever mood they chose. The majority of them said often, but we saw more of a switch, seeing as some more participants rated their mood as switching sometimes. And when asked to rate their day on a scale from 1 to 5, we saw a lot more threes and fours than we did in the males. And I also thought it was really important to highlight that when asked to rate their most common mood, we saw a pretty large jump in terms of anger, whereas almost none of the men expressed any feelings of anger throughout the study. We saw a much higher percentage of our female participants saying that they experienced this emotion. And then for female extroversion positive emotionality, we asked them, did they see a family, friend, or relationship partner? And the majority of them said that they did, but it was a slightly less percentage than we saw with the men. And when asked how they felt by socializing, it was the same breakdown almost, seeing as the majority of them were comfortable. But we also saw that women tended to be more cautious and wary in conversations than their male counterparts, which we thought was really interesting. And then when asked to rate how social they were on a scale from 1 to 5, the majority said fours and fives again, but it was a little bit less than seen in the males. And in conclusion, the differences seen in male and female temperament and personality traits through the daily diary reports show that women tend to, on average, have higher levels of neuroticism, negative emotionality, and lower levels of extroversion and positive emotionality, which could leave them more prone to developing disorders such as MDD. And it is important to note, though, that these traits are not inherently good or bad. So just because our study found that they were more predisposed to anger or self-consciousness, neuroticism and extroversion both have their costs and benefits. So here listed on the slide, we have the benefits for neuroticism as vigilance to danger and competitiveness, which makes sense in the women that they would have like higher levels of this because they tend to have to be more vigilant for their safety and look out, whereas their male counterparts don't really have to worry about that as much. And then for costs of neuroticism, it's stress and depression, interpersonal, or health consequences. Whereas for extroversion, the benefits are mating success, social allies, and exploration of environment, while the costs are physical risks and family stability. And we're excited. I hope that you guys learned something new today and that this was informative. Thank you guys so much.